Welcome to another episode of the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How we doing today on this Friday evening? How we doing?
Happy Friday.
Absolutely. I'll get the screen up for you so you can see this. Let's get into it because a lot's happened recently over the past couple of days. A lot of news that broke. Some that makes me happy because it turns out I was right. But let's get into it right now. We're talking about, let's see if we can get it up here. I hope we can. Here we go. It's not the right topic. We're going to get to it in a second. There we go. It looks like Tom Brady is being recruited by the Las Vegas Raiders as a potential replacement for Derek Carr. Now, I was the first one to jump on this a couple weeks ago when I thought that if Tom Brady leaves, because it looks like Tom Brady is 1 foot out the door of Tampa Bay, and yes, he does have a great relationship with the owners, but the team is making him frustrated. The coaching is very frustrating. It's not exactly a tight-knit place like it once was, or actually it was never really like that, but Brady, he's starting to, and because there was no success recently, there was with Bruce Arians, and now there isn't really any success. He's getting frustrated, and it seems like he's 1 foot out the door. And it looks like the Raiders are going to actually shop him in the offseason if he does become available, if he decides to not retire, because this is the last year of his contract. His contract will be up at the end of this season, whenever the Buccaneers season will end, with Jimmy G being the Raiders' next choice. So, Dad, I'm going to ask you, do you think Tom Brady, at 46 years old, will be the right fit for the Las Vegas Raiders next year?
Definitely. I definitely think so, because he's going to get reunited with Josh McDaniels, and look at the success they had when they were together. I think that the weapons on offense for the Raiders, I would say, as good as Brady had when he was with the Patriots.
Right.
Right? Look at the wide receiver core there. Very good. Very good. Running back, got a top flight running back, one of the best in the league. I don't know about their offensive line. How good is that? It's rated by
Pro Football Focus about the 13th best, but I think that's a little high for them.
Yeah. Well, they may bolster that a little bit.
They could. They should.
And their defense is serviceable, you know. I think that some of those players, what's his name, hasn't lived up to expectations except for that interception, fumble recovery, they call it. Chandler Jones, yeah. He hasn't really lived up to expectations. But they have Crosby.
Yeah.
So I think that's where he's going. I said this, I've been saying this for a while now. I was hoping he would go to the Patriots. I was hoping he'd go back to the Patriots. And I thought San Francisco was an option too, but
San Francisco was your first choice.
I don't think San Francisco would be as interested. The Raiders definitely. That's where he's headed. I'm pretty convinced, and he's not going to retire. I'm sure of that.
I still think he'll retire at the end of this year because I don't think he thinks he could lead a playoff team, and that was his requirement years ago, where he said at 45, and then I think originally it was 45, and then he changed it to when he can't lead a championship team. And this team, I don't care what last game said. Last game was a phenomenal game. There was almost nothing wrong with that game. Early on, there was some problems. Actually, entering the fourth quarter, there was some problems because you were down 21-10 entering the fourth quarter. But when I'm taking a look at it, this team is nowhere near where it was last year. And we're going to get into it in a couple of topics, actually. Whether they should start their starters or not for Week 18, and Byron Leftwich had a quote which we'll talk about. But the Las Vegas Raiders are trying to get off Derek Carr. This is basically a done deal now. There is no chance Derek Carr is coming back to the Raiders next year. They replaced him with Jarrett Stidham. He goes out, throws 340 yards and a few touchdowns against the number one defense in the league in San Francisco. So I don't think they are going to, because besides, they also owe, Derek Carr signed an extension this past offseason, 3 years, $121 million, $40 million of that guaranteed. They don't want to spend $40 million on a quarterback that they don't necessarily want and Josh McDaniels doesn't even like. So my guess is by February 15th,
How do you
which
know
is the
Josh
deadline.
McDaniels doesn't like him?
Because he benched him.
Well, I thought that benching came from the owner.
And then also,
I thought the owner said the bench.
Josh McDaniels. I'm gonna get. We don't know for sure. It was strictly a rumor. But about a few days before they actually benched him, Josh McDaniels said, "Yeah, we just have to throw the ball better." There's a lot of problems with this team. Your defense is ranked 26th. Your passing defense being ranked 29th. Your defense has not been very, very good.
I think that they'll get quite a bit for Derek Carr if they trade him.
I would assume so because there's a decent amount of teams that need a quarterback. You have Miami. Who knows what's going to happen with that? The Jets need a quarterback. Washington needs a quarterback. The Giants seem like they're probably going to keep
They're going to
Daniel
go back
Jones.
with Daniel Jones.
You have Detroit. I like Jared Goff. He seemed to do well in Detroit.
I bet Daniel Jones will make it tough for the Giants.
It's weird because
I think he'll make it tough for them.
What do you mean by that? Make it tough?
I think he'll look at other options. I think he'll look at other offers before he signs with them.
No, Daniel Jones will not be shocked by any other team besides the Giants. Not a chance.
I think he will. You wait and see.
I think if it was between Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones in the open market, Baker Mayfield will get more offers than Daniel Jones.
I don't think so.
Because I think Baker Mayfield has right now, if Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones hit the open market, with the way Baker has played in his career compared to Daniel Jones's career, regardless of the situation with Dave Gettleman and the mess of receivers that the Giants have had, and you take a look at Brian Daboll now, I mean, think about this. Baker Mayfield knew the playbook in under 48 hours and had a comeback against the Raiders. That has to mean something. He goes out, drops 51 against a top-tier pass defense in the Denver Broncos. That has to mean something here.
No, I'm not saying Baker Mayfield's bad. I think he'll get some offers.
No, but what I'm saying is that Daniel Jones won't be shocked.
Daniel Jones is going to get some offers besides the Giants' offer.
I can't see that. I just simply can't. But when I look at this, Derek Carr is going to go out there. He's going to make a bunch of money, I think.
He deserves to. He's not a bad quarterback.
I don't think he's a bad quarterback at all. But it's just a matter of how badly teams want to spend money on this. And then the Brady situation, I've been saying this for the past 2 weeks. You were a little late on that. I went back in the records. 2 weeks ago when we had the Brady to the Raiders, the 49ers, you did say you wanted you would see Brady on the 49ers. You did say that. You recently...
Well, I said he wasn't going to retire. You
did.
Keep thinking he's going to retire.
I still do. Because I just think that Brady right now, he said, I'm going to keep harking back to this because... I feel like sometimes when Brady speaks in the offseason, he means what he says, even though in the Man in the Arena, he really says about 20% of what he's thinking. He said 45 years ago. And then I think more recently, he said when he's not able to lead a championship team.
But he is able to lead it. He's having a good season. Look at he's going to have the...
Lead a team. He's not leading the team. Okay, think about this, right? I didn't want to get into this in this topic, but last year they averaged over 30 points a game. They were second in the league in points per game. They have 30.1 points. They average 18 points per game now. Their red zone sucks. Their third down sucks. This offense is stagnant unless they go 2-minute. Without that, there is no chance they become successful. A Tom Brady-led offense,
their offensive
18
line,
points a game.
Their offensive line is decimated this year.
18 points a game, no running game.
But that hurt the running game. They could tee off on Brady because they knew they weren't going to run it.
Right, so how can you lead a team that isn't even... You have no cohesion. There's no cohesiveness between your team.
I don't think he's going to retire. I do think he will be with the Raiders next year.
In
fact, I think they might give him a multi-year deal.
He would be there for 2 years. 2 years. And one thing I want to say, because a lot of people, ripped on me for saying that a couple weeks ago about how, they don't want Brady there. Al Davis did anything in his power to win football games. That's what he did. He would bring in a bunch of personalities that didn't blend well in society's image, and he would win football games. I think, Mark Davis will do the same thing. Bring Brady in. Because I think he wants to win as well, and that's what a lot of coaches want to do.
I think he'll blend in well. I think he'll blend in well there.
They need to work a little bit on their offensive line. Their defense is their only problem. Their passing defense is their problem because you still got Mad Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones had an off year. He had an off year, but Khalil Mack had a couple off years with Chicago. He comes into the Chargers. He's been great.
Yeah.
So I think you got to work on your passing defense a little bit because your 2019 picks have been, I don't even think they're either arrested, in jail, not on the team, released, or in free agency right now. They're not on your team. So when I'm taking a look at this Raiders team, the passing defense is the problem. And I think Brady, and I've been saying this for weeks, Brady with Josh Jacobs, a established running back. Devontae Adams would be probably one of, if I would say, between him and Mike Evans, his best receiver since Randy Moss. He has a Wes Welker, Edelman, Amendola in Hunter Renfrow. Darren Waller, who might be out the door because he almost left for the Packers in the offseason this past year. Gronk may come back, so you have that replacement. Plus, you got Morneau, I believe, as one of your backup
I'm pretty sure
receivers.
Gronk will come back if he's playing in Las Vegas.
I think as well. I think as well. So I'm thinking when I'm taking a look at the offense on paper, yes, the offensive line needs a little bit of work, but that comes in the draft. That's what the Bucs did. They got Brady. They drafted Tristan Wirfs. That's something you can work on there. Your defense is a huge problem, but even then, the Bucs defense when Brady came in was super young. There was some talent there. You had JPP, you had Ndamukong Suh, you had Vita Vea, you had Levante David, you had Devin White. Young guys. Most of those were established guys. Then I think the JPP, Ndamukong Suh could be your Chandler Jones and your Mad Max Crosby. Those are those two pieces. And then the rest of the defense was super young on the Bucs. And their passing defense was ranked bottom 3 in 2020. And look what happened. They won the Super Bowl. So when I think Brady with Josh McDaniels, your head coach, an established running game, you have great receivers. Brady just needs to he needs to score in the red zone. That's what the problem this year was, scoring in the red zone. And that's why I think Gronk comes into play. You have your Amendola, Edelman, Wes Welker guy, which you don't really have. That was the Scotty Miller, but he had some speed to him, and now he's neglected all the way to special teams. That's where Scotty Miller is now. So I think, yes, Brady, while he does have a great relationship with the owners and everything, he's not satisfied with the way the Bucs are playing now, and that's the same way he was with the Patriots. He loved Robert Kraft. He loved Edelman. He loved Sony Michel and James White and all those guys. The team wasn't there, though. He had problems with Bill Belichick. The coaching wasn't there. The defense played great for the first 8 games, couldn't handle the rest of the season. The offense just wasn't clicking. And then in the playoff game, Belichick's defense couldn't stop Derrick Henry. He ran for over 200 yards, and they lost. So this is the same thing. We're seeing a lot of the differences, a lot of the similarities between Brady in 2019 when he left the Patriots and Brady now. Mm-hmm. Sign a 1-year, 2-year
No, I agree.
deal.
I think he's
Go to the
leaving,
Raiders.
and he's going to the Raiders. I think it's a 2-year deal.
It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be an interesting offseason, I think. The NFL season has a lot. This offseason is going to be packed. And Lamar Jackson's had a bunch of issues. We'll get into that next week, I think. But let's move on to our next topic. A lovely figure, Aaron Rodgers. The Packers need to win this game to make it into the playoffs. The Lions need a little bit more help. They also need the Seahawks to lose along with the Lions win to make it in the playoffs. Packers could just win straight up and make it. But you know what? Recently, I believe today, Aaron Rodgers is mentioning retirement again, and he had a revelation a couple of days ago. I'm not saying to retire, but the Packers have been on a 4-game winning streak, and this has been their key to get back in the playoff run and set them up for success to get into the playoffs. This game, Lions at Packers. Packers are favored in this game. Sunday Night Football. This, honestly, if the Seahawks have the earlier game, if the Seahawks win, it's just up to the Packers to win. The Lions are completely out. So, do you think Aaron Rodgers, because it's a 4-game winning streak, Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. People love to give the credit to the quarterback when their team wins. Do you think Aaron Rodgers deserves the majority of the credit for the Packers' recent success?
Majority?
Yes, majority. Over 50%.
Just slightly over.
Oof. Why do you think that?
Because he's played a lot better. I think the team has kind of rallied around his effort. And I think he's made people around him better. I think he's played smart. He hasn't been turning the ball over. I do think he's had a big factor in their 4-game winning streak.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers does not deserve the majority of the credit. Because in large part, and I said this way before anyone else has been saying this. We can go back in the records. When the Packers started to lose, and I took a look at it, I'm like, Aaron Rodgers is throwing the ball way too much. I don't know if you remember that. I said, the Packers need to run the football. They have a great 1-2 punch combo of A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. And this 4-game winning streak, they've started to run the ball a lot more, and they're in this past 4 games have averaged more rushing attempts than passing attempts. So, I have a stat here. I think I have it up right now. Here we go. The Packers, during their 4-game winning streak, The rushing yards per game, 138.8. Passing yards per game, 190.8. Pass defense, they only have 4 passing touchdowns. 4! The defensive special teams have 2, and their takeaways have been 12. It's been defense and running the football has been their key to winning football games here. Mm-hmm. So I don't think Aaron Rodgers deserves much of this credit. All he has been a distributor. That's all he's been. You know, he only has 2 200-yard pass games in this 4-game winning streak. And what's I find this so absurd. Mac Jones, who no one agrees is a great passer at all. No one has respect for Mac Jones. He has more 300-yard passing games than Aaron Rodgers this year. Guess how many Aaron Rodgers has?
1.
0. Does not have a single 300-yard passing game.
How many does Mac Jones have?
He
1?
has 2.
2?
2. Guess how many? If I were to tell you, if I were to just throw the stat at you, Aaron Rodgers and Mac Jones have the same, I believe it's the amount of under 200-yard passing games. Would you believe that?
No, I wouldn't. But
I guess
it's true.
They have the same amount of sub 200-yard passing games this season. And Aaron Rodgers is quintuple times better than Mac Jones. More than that. Mac Jones and Aaron Rodgers, those 2 guys don't even fit in the same sentence. But this season, they have been relatively similar. Mac Jones...
Over the last 4 games?
Just throughout the season. Not even the last 4 games.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers played poorly in the beginning of the season.
He played very, very bad. Aaron Rodgers does not have a single 300-yard passing game this season. So I said this weeks ago. When they started to lose to all these teams, and I noticed, you know what? Aaron Rodgers is passing it 35, 40 times a game, and you're running it 15, 16 times a game. That's not, you don't have the same amount of talent. You don't have a Davante Adams anymore. So my guess would be you have to run the football, and it turns out that's exactly what they've been doing. They've been running the ball a lot. They only have 2 200-yard pass games in the past 4 games, and one of them was 207, so barely above 200 passing yards.
Makes you wonder why they signed Aaron Rodgers to a 3-year, $150 million deal. You know, I'm not sure I understand it because they have emphasized the run,
right,
and
recently
they made him more of a game, as you say, a game manager. So maybe you're right. Maybe he doesn't deserve the majority of the credit.
So Aaron Rodgers was talking retirement today, and I don't think he'll retire.
I don't think he'll retire. He's not going to walk away from $50 million.
I don't think he'll retire, but I don't think it's absurd to say that he won't be a Packer next year.
Maybe not.
I think he could be traded because what we're seeing from Jordan Love now, it's a very small sample size, but we ripped on him for not playing well against the Chiefs, even though he had over 300 passing yards against the Chiefs. I think, and the reports have been that Jordan Love has been played very well this year. In practice, he's looked very good. In the game that he played this year, he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
He looked pretty good. So I think it's safe to say Aaron Rodgers could maybe not be a Packer next year. And I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Who would pick him up? Have to pay him a contract with $100 million on it.
I mean, there's a lot of teams that could use a quarterback that are stupid enough to pay Aaron Rodgers $100 million, basically, guaranteed. Yeah.
Who would you say would be?
I think the Jets would be stupid enough.
Yeah, maybe. The Colts.
Colts would probably pick him up. Tennessee needs a quarterback. I could see that.
Washington.
I think there was a rumor that he bought a house in Tennessee in the offseason anyway. So that actually sparked a rumor well into before he signed with the Packers that he could be going to the Titans. Although I think there could be some coaching player issues there. Mike Vrabel building up a culture. Aaron Rodgers is a hard curveball into that culture there. So maybe. But I think it's safe to say, first of all, Aaron Rodgers does not deserve most of the credit here. It's the running game and defense that's played basically lights out. And I think Aaron Rodgers may not be a Packer next year.
Okay, well, those are big.
That's all I'm saying.
That's a big forecast. Yeah.
I feel good about that. I feel really good about that. All right, let's move on into our next topic because this has got me absurd right now. So we're taking a look at Brock Purdy this season. He's looked really good, really good. Coming out of the last draft pick in this past year's draft, Mr. Irrelevant becoming Mr. Relevant, and Steve Young has compared Brock Purdy and his calmness in the pocket to Patrick Mahomes. Brock Purdy is getting compared to Patrick Mahomes. And Brock Purdy also said that there's no doubt he could lead this San Francisco 49ers team to a Super Bowl.
What else is he going to say?
We talked about this recently. But I want to hark back to, because I think this is just ridiculous that Steve Young is one night comparing guys to Patrick Mahomes. But do you really think that Brock Purdy can lead this team, this 49ers team, to a Super Bowl title?
Maybe. I'm not. I'm less than confident about it, though. He's a rookie.
Right.
Once he gets into those games, the NFC championship game, and if they win that, the Super Bowl, it's a whole different level of intensity.
Right.
Whole different level of stress. And he's capable, I think, of making some mistakes there because he doesn't have the experience. I don't think that I'm sorry that Jimmy G got hurt. I think that I had picked very early on. I said that the San Francisco had a good chance to get to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G at the helm.
Right.
So I have my doubts about them getting to the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy.
Well, I thought your Super Bowl pick was a little bit questionable. I did not necessarily deny it because Jimmy G has led this team to a Super Bowl with very similar circumstances. A great running game, a great defense. And Jimmy G just needed to be a distributor, which is the perfect solution in Kyle Shanahan's offense. Kyle Shanahan's offense, first of all, Kyle Shanahan is an offensive genius. We've seen this because he's turning Brock Purdy, getting compared to Patrick Mahomes now by a Hall of Fame quarterback. Kyle Shanahan...
That might be a little generous in terms of...
Absolutely. So, Kyle Shanahan's offense revolves around someone getting the ball to the open receiver. It's not about throwing the ball 60 yards downfield. It's not about running the ball, like Lamar Jackson or Justin Fields. It's about just making the right read, getting the ball out to the right receiver at the right time. Simple it's very, very basic quarterback play. Short yards, hand the ball off, work the play action. The difference between Jimmy G and Brock Purdy this year has been they've been able to run a play-action boot where they move Brock Purdy out of the pocket because he's more mobile than Jimmy G. And speaking of Jimmy G, I have a little QB comparison for those who still are disrespecting Jimmy G, because I was one of them. I disrespected Jimmy G last year in the playoffs. I
wasn't one of them.
I called him Jimmy Gag because early in his, I still couldn't get over that Super Bowl loss where they were up by like 11 or 10 and down, and they lost by 11 points in the Super Bowl. So I have a little bit of a QB comparison here. I think we have the graphic up right now. We can get up right now. Here it is. Here's 4 quarterbacks. Okay, these quarterbacks, I think 99% of the population would consider average, about 14, 15, to well into the top 10s. A couple of the quarterbacks here are top 10s. So, we have a quarterback in the top left, 62.5% completion percentage, not that great. Passer rating of a 92. These are the career stats, by the way. 92 is not terrible. Yards per game, 238.7. That's a respectable passing yards per game. The one over to the right, completion percentage of 66.9, which is pretty good. Passer rating of a 96, better than the QB on the left. And yards per game, almost 300. Very good. Tremendously good. Let's go to the bottom left now. Completion percentage, same as the previous quarterback, 66.9. Passer rating of a 98.4. Very respectable, very good. Yards per game in his career of 258.5. And then the final guy, completion percentage of 67.6, the leader in all of them. Passer rating of a 99.2, higher than all of them. Yards per game, 0.1 below top left quarterback at 238.6. Anyone have any guesses out there? Well, let's reveal them. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, and Jimmy G in that order. Jimmy G has a higher completion percentage and passer rating than Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and Dak Prescott. All very, very respectable quarterbacks in today's NFL. Especially Josh Allen, who some would consider, like I did, I had him at my number 1 most of the year. He's been a top 3 quarterback the past couple of seasons. Justin Herbert, who I thought would be better than Tua, would make a serious argument to be better than Joe Burrow coming out of the draft. I picked him as the number 5 pick over Tua. And then Dak Prescott, who, while he's had turnover problems recently, no one has considered him below average. He's had some problems there, doesn't do well in the playoffs, but has been relatively good. And then Jimmy G, who people consider him about the 18th, 19th best quarterback in the league. That's just not the case. These are their career stats here. And before we get into, they had a bunch of help.
One other stat that would be nice to see there is winning percentage, because Jimmy G probably has the highest winning percentage.
The reason why I didn't put winning percentage is because the majority of sports fans consider winning percentage not a QB stat. Well, I consider it a bit of a gray area because QBs could have a serious impact on the wins and losses.
That's for sure. They handle the ball on every play.
So that's why I didn't add it. And then when we get to the Brock Purdy, Jimmy G, because people said, oh my God, look at Brock Purdy. This offense is so much more explosive with Brock Purdy than Jimmy G. Well, let's look at the comparison between those two if I get it up right. That's the old
looks
graphic.
Like Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, here we go. This is Jimmy G and Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's first 4 starts, which has just been this past, his last 4 starts here. And Jimmy G's last 4 starts before he got hurt. Jimmy G's been better than Brock Purdy. A higher completion percentage, a higher passer rating, a better touchdown-interception ratio. Jimmy G, by the way, 7 touchdowns, no picks, compared to Brock Purdy's 8 and 2. Yards per game, he has more. So,
just barely.
But it's more.
Yeah.
So
he leads in every category there.
So Jimmy G has been a very good quarterback for the 49ers team because he fits the Kyle Shanahan offense. So people are hating on Jimmy G being, he's so bad. It's just we like a story. This is more of a story than an actual fact.
Is he going to be back for the playoffs, Jimmy G?
That's a huge question mark. We don't know, and my guess is they would probably keep Brock Purdy over Jimmy G.
No, but they might. I think that Brock Purdy will get the starts, but if he falters, then I
don't think they would.
They could bring Jimmy G in.
They would hurt Jimmy G's trade capital or his value.
To be brought into a playoff game?
Because he might not be 100%. We don't know how he'd look.
I think that they'll
if
that option will be there.
If he's going to be in the playoffs, it would be late in the playoffs. We're talking NFC Championship game or Super Bowl if they make it there. I think this is more of a story than it is about an actual fact. I mean, I very much enjoyed hearing about Brock Purdy and how great he's been playing, but the realistic thing is Jimmy G has been a better quarterback. And not only has Jimmy G been a better quarterback than Brock Purdy, he's been better than a lot of prominent quarterbacks. He's been better than Dak Prescott in his career. Better than Josh Allen in his career. Better, not the yards per game, because Justin Herbert is tremendous in the yards per game. But passer rating and completion percentage, better than Justin Herbert. So we gotta stop it with the. I was a Jimmy G hater just because I couldn't believe, like I said, he choked in the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes had another bad Super Bowl run, but that's a time for another a story for another time. But Jimmy G, he's not that bad of a quarterback. He's just not a flashy player. He'll get some good offers in the offseason. He's a very technically advanced and mechanically. He's very mechanical. You don't see him doing these crazy, sidearm throws and behind the back passes and, wobbly footballs. He stands in the pocket, tries to make the right read, and the past couple years he's been doing that. He led this team. He went out to Lambeau in freezing temperatures when it was slightly snowing, beat Aaron Rodgers. Goes to the NFC Championship game, leads late in the fourth quarter against the Rams. If it wasn't for a dropped interception, we'd be seeing Jimmy G in his second Super Bowl. By the way, that I believe it was Tarrant who dropped the interception. I don't think he's even on the team anymore, but I could be wrong about that. We saw him make a Super Bowl already against Patrick Mahomes and lead in the fourth quarter against Patrick Mahomes. So, while Brock Purdy has been a great, interesting watch, the tremendous help that he had with Christian McCaffrey, which Jimmy G did not have through about half of the season, Christian McCaffrey has been a huge part of this offense. And we haven't really seen Brock Purdy put it all on himself. The Raider game was an interesting game. It came down into overtime on a field goal, but it was very interesting when the running game was still there. I think Christian McCaffrey rushed for still 80 yards or something like that. Brock Purdy was not all on Brock Purdy. They didn't rush it for 12 times for 45 yards. They were able to get 80-something yards out of Christian McCaffrey. So Brock Purdy is more of a story than I think of a true starter in the league. But you know what?
My thought is if he does well in the playoffs, gets them to the NFC Championship game, maybe outside chance the Super Bowl. I don't think so, but if he does, then I think next year there'll be him and Trey Lance, and Jimmy G will be traded.
Oh, I think Jimmy G's going regardless.
Actually, Jimmy G will be a free agent, right?
I think Jimmy G will be going regardless.
Yeah.
That's just me, though.
He's a free agent, right?
Yeah, he had a one-year contract
I think
this
he'll get
offseason.
some good offers.
Jimmy G, he should.
Yeah.
I think the Jets would be very interested in him. I think a lot of teams would be very, very interested in him.
I actually can't wait for next year. I think it's going to be a big shakeup. I think it'll be a lot of different.
We're gonna have a great March and April coming up for the Harvey Hour. All right, still to come. Should the Bucs consider benching their starters in Week 18 against the Atlanta Falcons? Can the Patriots clinch their second consecutive playoff berth with a win against Buffalo? And we discussed the Celtics bounce back win against the Mavericks last night. All that and more right after this.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
Or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
Interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.
You have a lot to say. Maybe you've thought, I should start a podcast. Meet Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast ever. It's a powerful mobile app and web tool that lets you record a podcast anywhere and distribute it everywhere. It's great whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. And it's 100% free. You can record your show straight into Anchor on your phone, iPad, or the web, using any mic you want. Record alone or with friends or co-hosts anywhere in the world. You can add background music and transitions, and your listeners can send you voice messages that you can incorporate right into your next episode. If you want to produce your show using another app, you can upload your own audio directly from web or mobile, and still take advantage of Anchor's totally free podcast hosting. Once your podcast is ready to publish, Anchor can automatically distribute it to every major podcast platform. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so your listeners can hear your show wherever they want. And on the web, you can see detailed analytics about how people are listening. Plus, you'll get a great-looking profile page where anyone can listen to your podcast or subscribe to it. And if you want to ask your audience to support your work, Anchor makes it easy to collect monthly payments from the people who love your podcast and want to see it grow. You really don't need a recording studio, expensive equipment, or a bunch of technical knowledge to deal with a podcast feed. Just get started and join the diverse community of podcasters already on Anchor. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's get into our next topic. We're talking about Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They play Week 18 against the Atlanta Falcons, actually surprising underdogs away against the Atlanta Falcons. But I think that's more so that the bettors are not exactly, betting on the fact that their starters will start, which I think is a little bit ridiculous because I think Brady has a bit of an ego to start every game he's actually healthy to play. But we'll see. I think it could be a scenario where we're going to get into this when we make our picks. The Bucs offense goes out there for a couple of drives, maybe scores a touchdown or two. Then they rest everybody. They make themselves, just far enough. And plus, Brady's never had a losing season in his career. So I think that's beside the point. But I'm going to ask you, do you think the Bucs should play their starters in Week 18 because their seeding can't move? But do you think it's a good idea to start the starters in Week 18 against the Falcons?
Yes.
Why
I think
so?
they should. I think that, as we were talking before the show, Brady has a chance to set yet another record with the most attempts in a season,
right,
and most completions, right? So I think he wants that. He only has to throw 16 passes to get that, attempts-wise. And I also think that he's going to implore his team to play their best because he's never had a losing season, right? As a starter, he's never had a losing season. So I don't think he wants that on his record. So I think they will try hard to win. And I do think he'll be out there for at least a half. I don't think, maybe not the whole game. And I think that they will be practicing that long bomb to Mike Evans and the other receivers. I think they found something last week.
Right.
But that long passing game, right?
Yeah.
And he was right on the money, man.
It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
It was beautiful, really. So I think they're going to work on that some more in this game. And I think the Falcons, I'm not sure, I'm surprised they're favored to win. I would think that they got nothing to play for here, really. Why would they're going to be looking at some of the players that probably haven't played that much this year to see whether they are keepers for next year. So I don't think the talent out on the field for the Falcons will be their top talent either. They'll be looking at some of the younger players. So I'm picking the Bucs in this game, and I'm saying that Brady will be out there to set that attempts record and also throw some long bombs.
I agree with you that Brady will start this game, and I do think it's because I'm a little bit torn with whether they should start him or not because they still need reps with their team. That's the big problem. And I believe I have a clip here. I could bring it up, make sure everything's right so I don't fail again. Byron Leftwich was asked, talking about his team and the offense and the recent struggles it has, and this is what Byron Leftwich had to say about his team.
I think it's been moments where we haven't really been that bad. You guys over-exaggerate because we look different. The numbers say we're not that far off. We're awful on third down and red zone. It's disappointing, those two things, for us as a team with who we have. But when you really listen to people talk about us, that's emotions talking. That's not really people that's watching us get better every week. For some reason, everybody want to throw dirt on the Bucs.
I have so many problems with what Byron Leftwich just said. The first thing, the only difference in your team is that you don't have Gronk. You replaced AB with Julio Jones and Russell Gage. You don't use Scotty Miller. And your running game, I just looked at it, surprisingly, it's horrible right now. The past 2 seasons with Brady, it's been almost as bad. So your offense, while yes, visually it looks a little bit different, the core of it, Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, the offensive line is a little bit in shambles, but the main pieces of the offense are still important. There. I mean, the
offensive line.
You still got Tristan Wirfs, Donovan Smith, Shaq Mason, who's was an upgrade compared to Ali Marpet or Alex Kappa. You're debating an upgrade there, but and also I just want to bring this up. Your offense has been horrible. No one is putting dirt on you guys all of a sudden, and because it's emotions based. Your team has been this bad on offense. Like I said, you went from 30 points to 18 points per game. That is terrible. You are 25th in red zone percentage, 22nd on third down, which Byron Leftwich agreed with.
He agreed with that one. Compared
to last year, first of all, you were 26th in rushing. That's one thing. You were first in passing. That's another thing. But you averaged 30 points a game. Red zone, you were second. Third down, you were second. In Brady's first year with the Bucs, 2020, the COVID year. Second in passing, 28th in rushing. Still bad in rushing, but 7th in red zone percentage. 11th in third down percentage. The offense is it's so much worse than it has been. And while you could put that on the offensive line, which I think has some, it matters. Brady's offensive line has not been great this year. There's been pieces that have moved around. Players have gotten hurt. Donovan Smith, the most penalized player in the league. But there's been a lot of times where Brady, if it's under 2.5 seconds, regardless if he's pressured or not, the internal clock in his head goes 1, 2, throws the ball in the dirt because he doesn't want to take the hit. So while, yes, he may not be pressured all the time, he gets pressured a decent amount, but he has an internal clock and then throws the ball in the dirt or throws it out of harm's way. Plus, you had a lot of throws that were underthrown, too far, too off to the side, a bad throw. And then there's been some cases where, yes, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are about, let's see, I'm going to make sure I get this right. Brady has not been very fortunate when it's come to drop passes. He has the 6th most drops at 32. Trevor Lawrence has the most with 36. So he's not benefited from that. I will say that. But this offense has looked pretty anemic out there. And the only time your offense gets going is during the 2-minute drill.
Yeah.
That's when that's when your offense is actually watchable. Otherwise, you sit there. I mean, if I was a defensive coordinator, I would be great when I play the Bucs. Because all they do is they run on first down. Then they try a play action on second down. Then they throw it again on third down. It's third and out. The defense goes away. They try running it again on first down.
They look like a different offense last week. If they can keep that clicking the way they did last week with throwing those long passes, then I think.
Well, all those passes came in the fourth quarter when you were down by 11. You were down 21-10 against the Panthers.
I would try throwing it when you're when the score is 0-0. Why not? I think that was something they found last week that they should exploit because it worked well.
Well,
Brady was right on.
Well, obviously. And then I believe the only time that 63-yard pass was it? I believe was on a 2-minute drill. And other than that, their offense couldn't get going. They had that one touchdown, kicked a field goal in that first half, and it led all the way up to the fourth quarter for them to throw the rest of those 2 deep balls to Mike Evans.
Be the quick, Brady's good in the 2-minute drill.
But you
offense.
can't do that through an entire game. You'll make everybody tired.
Patriots had a season where they did the hurry up offense most of the time.
Are you talking about a 2-minute drill or just no huddle?
No huddle.
What season would that be? Because I guarantee you it wasn't recent.
No, it was a while ago, but they did do it and it worked really well. But why wouldn't the Bucs? They should try the no huddle. I think they ought to try it
because you can't always do that because then you have players who couldn't take a rest. I mean, you have Julio Jones who can't stay healthy. Mike Evans seems to be nicked every single game, limping to the sidelines. He's out for a couple plays. Chris Godwin, who has been very good recently, he's still basically
maybe they
nursing.
don't do it every drive, but they try it and see how it goes.
And then you also have Ryan Jensen, who needs to come back soon because his 21-day window is open. And if he's not activated at the end of it, he can't play the rest of the season. So he needs to get activated like soon. And my guess would be you don't put him in because I think I think he has enough reps with Tom Brady, maybe not in the speed of an NFL game, that could be a problem. But I think you might risk Ryan Jensen getting hurt again if you play him in this game. But he may need to get up to NFL speed. That's the big if that Todd Bowles has. I think Brady goes. I don't think he plays a half because they did this against the Lions. I think it was it 2 years ago or I think it was 2 years ago when they went on that Super Bowl run. They played Brady. They scored like 3 straight times, and then they sat Brady for the rest of the game, and that was like at the end of like the first quarter or something like that. Maybe at the middle of the second quarter. They benched Brady, put in Blaine Gabbert, and he played the rest of the game. So I'm saying, against, Desmond Ridder could have a good game. Who knows? The defense seems, Sam Darnold just threw 350 yards against this team. And if it wasn't for one underthrown ball, we could be talking about the Bucs playing for playoff hopes right now. Who knows? But do I think you should start them? Yes. Do I think Brady will start regardless of anyone else who starts? I think Brady will start if compared to the rest of the team because Brady is healthy. He has an ego, a huge ego, and I think
he likes to play. He likes to play football.
I know, but then sometimes you have to be like, hey, chill. You're 45 years old. You're a great quarterback.
He doesn't think
this
about it
game
that
means
way.
nothing. I think it could be a Brady ego thing because first of all,
the game does mean something to him.
Of course,
he wants
does.
a winning season.
I think that's a huge thing.
He wants he probably like to have that attempts record.
Why?
Well, just because he has all the records.
He already has the record. He already has the record. For completion.
I didn't think he had the attempts.
Attempts, no. Matt Stafford still has the attempts one.
One more record. Why not? He's got them all anyway.
Because this season doesn't look great.
What records doesn't he have now? We should look at that. What records doesn't he have?
Passer rating, touchdown to interception ratio. There's a lot. Yards per game. I don't think a lot. But then
we should look at that because
there's a lot of records Brady doesn't have. There's a lot that Brady doesn't have, and because some of it is skewed due to players not playing as long as he did. You have Patrick Mahomes who played 5 years. He leads in a bunch of those categories because he hasn't played. He's a phenomenal
we'll see where
player,
he is after 25 years.
I don't think he'll play 25 years, but I would definitely say, you know what? Play stars for a couple drives because the problem with the way the Bucs have been doing is they haven't been able to get a rhythm. That's the key word is rhythm, and they haven't been able to get the rhythm. So you put him in there. They just had a great game against the Panthers. You get him going. You create a rhythm straight into the playoffs. That's the thing with the Packers right now.
Throwing that long bomb. I like that a lot. It worked really well.
They've been trying that, except Brady and Mike Evans couldn't connect. That's the problem.
They connected. Mike Evans was offensive player of the week. Yeah. 200 yards receiving. Not bad.
I think, you know what? You got to create a rhythm. That the Packers are in stride right now. 4 straight wins, great defense, great running game. Aaron Rodgers is simply a distributor and a game manager right now. Bucs need to create some rhythm. Still don't have any you can't even see a run game in their future. They're still trying to find that piece of their offense, which doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. But they're going to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying because Brady's success comes from play action. But I digress. Let's get to the next topic. What a fun weekend it'll be for you. Seeing the Patriots get decimated by the Buffalo Bills. Mac Jones and the Patriots are looking to clinch their second consecutive playoff berth with a win against the Buffalo Bills. However, I don't know if I have the graphic here. We're going to find out together, though.
I think there's been moments where we haven't
That's
really
obviously
been that bad.
Byron Leftwich. Here it is. The Patriots need a win, or the Jets beat the Dolphins, Browns beat the Steelers, Jaguars beat the Titans. This is the scenario that the Patriots could make the playoffs with. The easiest thing would obviously be to beat Buffalo. The next one, if you lose to Buffalo, you need 3 scenarios to play out. The realistic option is you need those 3 scenarios to play out because the Bills are going to be playing with a lot of passion in this game.
I agree.
Because Damar Hamlin has recovered tremendously, miraculously.
Thank God.
Yeah, what's happened over the past couple of days, hearing the updates, because the scary thing that we talked about back on Tuesday was we haven't heard an update in 16, 18 hours. And then every single day it got better and better and better, so much so that he's off the breathing tube. He spoke to his team today, and it's been simply miraculous what has happened. But since it's a football show, Damar Hamlin, it was a tremendous story right now. And, he's still healing, still improving, but it looks like everything will be okay.
It's amazing.
So the football
Thank
side
God.
of it now, the Buffalo Bills are, because the whole situation is very, very confusing. They're still playing for something. So now not only do the Buffalo Bills play for Damar Hamlin, they're also playing for a better playoff spot. Because this could determine where they play home game wise in the postseason. So I already know your answer, but I have to ask, do you think Bill Belichick, Mac Jones, and this Patriots offense and defense can get the win against the Buffalo Bills in Week 18?
I think they can, but I think it's going to be very, very hard.
Right.
They got a lot of things going against them right now. They've got the Bills are going to be sky high because Damar Hamlin is recovering. And thank God he is. It's really good news, and thank God for modern medicine, and that he was near an academic medical center when he got hurt, and what they did for him on the field is miraculous. That he's coming back, and I think it's great. And the Buffalo is going to be. I'm sure when he talked to the team, that got him really fired up, and I think the Bills will be very high for this game, sky high for this game, and they'll be at home. So it's very, very going to be very, very hard for the Patriots. But I'll be picking them because they're my team. But I think it's going to be very hard.
Since you're picking them, how do you envision the Patriots winning this game? What is the winning game plan for the Patriots?
I don't know.
Do
you know what the weather forecast is for the game? What kind of weather it's going to be played?
I'll bring it up.
It's been pretty warm lately.
It has been, but with weather aside, right now, let's just.
If the wind was blowing 90 miles an hour, that would help the Patriots
because they already beat them that way.
If it was snowing and the wind and it was a whiteout, that would help them. I think the weather could be a factor, but it doesn't look like it will be. I think that it's been so warm lately.
Sunday looks cloudy, high of 35, low of 26.
Yeah, that's not going to be good for them. That's a pretty easy game to play football in. Pretty easy weather to play football in. So
game plan wise, what can the Patriots do?
Well, they're going to have to stop Josh Allen.
And how would they do that?
They're going to have to do it through having a spy on him, somebody that's designated to watch him, and they're going to have to put a lot of pressure on him and keep running their pass lanes so he doesn't get outside of them because he's a pretty capable runner. And that's how he's beaten the Patriots last couple of times, 3 times, is with his ability to run. And they haven't been able to stop that. The Patriots had trouble against mobile quarterbacks in the past couple of years. So I think that's the key, is stopping him. They're going to have to focus on him. And, maybe they should play zone defense because they had terrible luck against Stephon Diggs last time they played.
Jack Jones torched him. I'm sorry. Stephon Diggs torched Jonathan Jones.
Jonathan Jones.
Absolutely destroyed him.
So, any given Sunday, any team can beat another team. I think in this game it's going to be extremely difficult for the Patriots. And I don't know. You may be right. The other scenario may be the better way for them to get into the playoffs. We'll have to wait and see. But I'll be watching the game. I'll be rooting for the Patriots.
I'm gonna go with. Where are the Bills? Where are the flaws when the Bills play the Patriots? I don't see any flaws. Belichick has difficult time against mobile quarterbacks. That's what we've seen for the past 4 years now. You had Justin Fields just shocked Belichick. You had Lamar Jackson. You had no answer. Not many teams have an answer for Lamar Jackson. Belichick, being the greatest defensive coach of all time, he does not have an answer for Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen has beaten up on this Patriots team for the past 2 years. They beat him once in 45-mile-an-hour wins where Mac Jones threw it 3 times. And you won
That's
them
what
like
I'm saying. There is a way for the Patriots to win. They found a way to win.
Yes,
that game.
but I think playing in 45-mile-an-hour winds is a anomaly for the NFL.
Well, it's not going to be that way on Sundays.
No, it's going to be cloudy. It's going to be cold.
It's not going to be that cold even.
What?
26 is not that cold.
Depends on where you come from. Mac Jones comes from Alabama, so we're talking about the South there. But I guess he has played a season with New England anyway, so he could be acclimated to
I don't think
New
the
England
cold's
weather.
going to bother him that much.
I'm going to take this from a Patriots offensive side, which I have done most of the year this year when I talk about the Patriots. The offensive line, which I have criticized tremendously this year because it has been a problem. It has been a key point of failure. It's been a sieve. It's been a turnstile for defenses to go straight through. Mac Jones in this previous game against the Buffalo Bills had 38 dropbacks. He was pressured on 40% of those dropbacks. They could not stop the Bills' pass rush. Not at all. Now, up against
Von Miller isn't there.
I don't think it'll matter. I simply don't. This Bills team will be extremely motivated against a Mac Jones-led offense that has not been great due to a lot of factors. Mac Jones missing key routes, which he's done some of the year. The offensive line can't stop nobody. You think it's because Mac Jones holds on to the ball for too long. That's just not the case whatsoever. The wide receivers not getting open and then sometimes running into each other like they did in that Bengals game. Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry ran into one another. By the way, Jake Bailey and Jonathan Jones both are on the suspended list for the Patriots for not going through with treatment. Or rehab, I guess I should say.
Jake Bailey and who?
Jake Bailey and Jack Jones both went from injured reserve to the suspended by club portion of the IR. So their game checks could be involved right now, but that's beside the point. So the Buffalo Bills have just done a huge number on Belichick and this team. I mean, think about it. They punted once in the past, they punted like once.
No, I think they punted more than that. More than once. In the last game.
In the last game
they played, they punted more than once.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe they did. It took them 10 quarters to do it, though.
Yeah, well, those things happen.
No, they don't. It's an NFL record. It was an NFL record back in the playoffs where they went 7 straight drives of touchdowns against the Patriots. That's an NFL record. Not punting.
There's another way I think that the Patriots.
That's an NFL record. So this is not a situation where it happens all the time.
Here's another way. Here's another way I think the Patriots can keep it close. Bend, but not break on defense. Right? They'll let the Bills march up and down the field and only get field goals. I think that's another. And you've seen the Patriots play that game, where the offense isn't on the field that much, the defense is out there a lot, but the defense doesn't give up many points. So I think that's another way. They'll just try to bleed the clock with Buffalo running the ball and passing it, short passes, and getting down into the red zone, but only getting field goals. That's another way the Patriots could keep it close.
The Patriots defense is ranked 22nd in red zone percentage. So when teams get in, 2/3 of the time, or 58% of the time they score. So you can't do that. And that method, that's what the Bills did.
It's worked for the Patriots several times this year.
Not against the Bills.
No, but
And this is the team. This is the team they're playing on Sunday.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens, Nate. We'll be watching. I'll be watching the game.
It's not an answer. The Bills.
I'll be rooting for the Patriots.
The Bills had 38 minutes to the Patriots 21 minutes this last game, 24-10.
Yeah.
You can't say, oh, the Bills are just going to run the ball and then kick field goals. If your team can't score when you have maybe 4 opportunities,
they're going to have
in the
to
entire
score.
game.
There's definitely the Patriots are going to have to play better on offense this game than they played.
And how can you see them doing that though? Because they haven't done it all year.
Because
where's the answer? That's what I'm trying to say. Where's the answer?
There's a chance they can play better.
A chance, but where do you see that answer being?
I think Mac Jones, he's going to have to be very accurate with his passing. He's going to have to, have a series where it's not long distances on third down. When they have third and long, they're very poor when it's third and long. So they're going to have short third down. When it's third down, it can't be long distance, and the running game is going to have to be very good. They're going to have that running game so that they can use the play action.
Jonathan Jones got absolutely torched against the entire Bills.
They should change to his own defense on that.
When Jonathan Jones was targeted, right? He covered 5 people in the game. He was targeted 11 times, 9 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown. He got absolutely torched. That's more targets than anyone else on the Patriots team, more catches allowed than anyone else on the Patriots team, more yards given up than anyone on that Patriots defense. Jonathan Jones, and I said this at the beginning of the offseason when J.C. Jackson left. You said, oh, well, they had Jonathan Jones. He's a good quarterback. Not this year. Not this year. He hasn't been very good.
No, I don't know if he's been that bad. I mean, in that particular game, they left him out there alone on Stephon Diggs, hoping he could stop him 2 or 3 times. They were trying to stop everybody else.
In a lot of the games, he hasn't been able to perform very well. Against Justin Jefferson, torched.
Well, again, that's a pretty elite receiver.
I would agree so.
They used the same strategy. Hoping he could stop him a few times.
It just wasn't the case. Yeah. Jonathan Jones has not been very good, and then Jack Jones is hurt, but still, the Patriots have very small cornerbacks, which is a problem when you go up against guys who are 6'3", 6'4", and you have a guy that's 5'9", 180 pounds covering him. We saw that against the Bengals. T. Higgins, 6'4", 230. Yeah, with Marcus Jones, 5'9", 175. He absolutely got bullied.
Marcus Jones going to play this game?
He was, I believe he was a limited participant in practice this week, he was limited with a concussion.
Yeah.
Jonathan Jones was also limited as well. They had a lot of limited players this week. Jonnu Smith was limited.
These guys will all play.
Devontae Parker may come back. He was limited. Jalen Mills was limited. Jacoby Myers was limited.
He's been a disappointment, Devontae Parker.
I disagree with that. This year?
Yes, he's been hurt. He hasn't played that many games.
Disagree with that entirely.
How many catches has he had?
He's played 12 games.
How many catches has he had?
25 for 460 yards.
Wow, that's big. Huh?
What are you saying?
25 catches? That's not many catches.
Who do you
12
think,
games?
Who do you think is their leading? Who do you think is leading in receptions?
Ramondre.
Running back.
Yeah.
He's tied with Jacoby Myers. You got to be kidding me. Yes, he was targeted 40 times for 25 catches and 460 yards. Would you believe? In only 25 catches, he's the 3rd leading receiver on that team. The number 1 being Jacoby Myers, then Hunter Henry, then Devontae Parker. Not even Ramondre Stevenson with 64 catches for only 393 yards.
Yeah, well, they throw him out of the backfield. I mean, it's a different kind of a route.
Devontae Parker is leading the receivers in yards per catch.
Yeah, well.
What are we talking about? He's the deep threat. Here's the problem with that.
Maybe he'll be the difference in Sunday's game. We'll see.
Well, if it even plays. Here's the problem with the way the Patriots offense has been playing. It's the same thing. It's schematics. When your offensive line can't block nobody, how could Devontae Parker utilize the one thing he was on that team for? Same thing with Tyquan Thornton. Get downfield. If your offensive line is just turnstile, guys just running through it, how is Devontae Parker being utilized? He's not. He's just simply not. And yet he still has 460 yards. Yet he still has that. He's 3rd leading receiver for the Patriots. So I think it's a little unfair that you're saying Devontae Parker's been, underwhelming. He's been hurt. He's played for 12 games, 25 catches.
25 catches is underwhelming.
40 targets. The ball hasn't gotten to him. 40 targets. Let's see. I want to how many drops he has. Because if he has a lot of drops, I'll give it to you. He has... Is it here? Yeah, here it is. Won't you look at that? 0 drops on the year. That means 15 passes never got to Devontae Parker. 0 drops on the year. Jacoby Myers has 4. Ramondre Stevenson has 6. Tyquan Thornton has 4. So I think it's disrespectful just to say, and by the way, once again, schematics. Kendrick Bourne may be your best receiver. He never gets played. So I think it's a little unfair.
How many catches does he have?
Let's see. I'll get that right now. Kendrick Bourne has 31 catches. 31 catches.
He has more than Parker.
He does, but he's not the downfield guy. Those started. Devontae Parker started 10 games, only 40 targets. He is 3, 4,
Did
5,
they
6,
sign him
7th in targets.
a multiple-year deal?
Yeah. He's 7th in targets. He's, I believe, 6th in catches. Or 7th in catches, but 3rd in yards. 1st in yards per reception. So he's the downfield guy who can't you throw. Mac Jones has missed him 15 times. So I think it's a little unfair. Devontae Parker. I mean, he is maybe one of the best receivers on the team. There's a reason they got him. It's because they don't have a lot of talent on that team. But Patriots are not going to win this game against the fired up Bills team. I don't know how you could see the Patriots simply win this game. Because Mac Jones and this offense has not played very well. Defense in the red zone has been giving up a lot of points. You can't play time of possession because we don't know if your running game's going to be there. That's the big question mark. Your running game has been relatively inconsistent. And Ramondre Stevenson can't carry you all the way there. He said he's already feeling the load of where the season is now.
Well, they didn't play him that much last week, so he got a little rest.
Well, yeah, Damian Harris played a little bit better.
And Damian Harris is healthy now, so they have the 1-2 punch.
I don't know if it's a big 1-2 punch. And besides, the Bills ran 21 more plays than the Patriots in the last game. 21 more plays.
No.
It was bad. It was bad. Let's move on to our next topic. We're talking about some NBA basketball. We don't talk about that very often. We don't talk about the association, but last night was a very, very good game for the Celtics. Able to get a 124-95 victory over what some people are considering the MVP of the league, Luka Doncic, who scored a measly 23 points, I believe, against this Celtics team. Yeah, he scored 23 points, was a minus 20 on the plus minus. Still got 9 rebounds, only 3 assists. What's your reaction to last night's game between the Celtics and the Mavs?
The Celtics dominated the game. They were ahead from the very beginning. They never trailed. They were ahead by a lot most of the game. I watched the game. They looked very good, and they had balanced scoring. They played, I guess, decent defense. I think that's, if there's one weakness on their team this year, I think compared to last year, the defensive play is not as good.
Right.
They've been relying just on a lot of 3-point shooting and offense carrying them, and that they get torched with that sometimes. Like the game before this one, right? They gave up 150 points. That's crazy. So I thought they looked good last night. I mean, I do think they're the number 1 team, and they got to keep playing.
Yeah.
Got to keep playing consistently. Try to beef up that defense a little bit. I think that would help.
I think a large part of this game, because...
And the other thing I'd say about Dallas, they just have one player, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really have anybody else. So these other guys are for what little they do, it's Doncic makes them better because he drives in there and then dishes the ball out to them, and they get a wide open shot. Every once in a while, they hit one.
Right.
So I don't know. Why doesn't Dallas have a few extra more? They need a few more players around Doncic.
Yeah, you would think.
I think he should be a little upset by that. You know?
I would be too, but Luka did not have a very good shooting night. Shot 30%, 7 of 23, 0 for 6
they just
from
sagged
3.
in on him. They just all they do is focus on him. A lot of times he was double teamed. So I don't discredit him that much for not having that many points. Every shot he took was really contested, and sometimes 2 guys on him.
Yeah.
So
Jason Tatum, by the way, triple-double. He had a pretty good game. Did not shoot the ball particularly well. Shot 36% and 25% from three. But in large part he shot 12 free throws, made 11 of them. So he was driving, getting fouled, going to the line, and making 91.7% of his free throws. That's key there.
I think he's a good chance to win the MVP. Keeps playing the way he's been playing.
I think if he could play this consistently, I would probably agree with you. Although Luka's been great, Nikola Jokic has been great. Giannis has always been beasting in the NBA. There's a lot of players you could put up there, but I definitely think Jason Tatum has a chance. And we talked about this way early in the season, like by game 10 or 11, we talked about MVP race. But this is not a great shooting team. This is not a great shooting game for either team, and it didn't help that Luka, who's averaging like 45 points since January, only he shot 30% from the floor, 0% from three, 0 for 6, 23 points. Did shoot 11 free throws. The Celtics team, like you said, the defense has been a little bit of a problem, a tiny bit of a problem. They've been giving up a decent amount of points, although they have been scoring a lot.
Where does this defense stand rank-wise in the league right now?
I have it based on category. I don't have an overall ranking of defense, but
there is a rank out there though, right?
Based on the stat here. So I have 3 points, 3-point percentage, 15th. Let's see here, 2-point percentage, 10th, 15th in points allowed.
15th in points allowed.
They are first in points scored though at 118.7 per game.
Yeah.
So they've been scoring a lot. They've been giving up.
But last year they were number one in points allowed, right?
Yeah. They were a tremendous defensive team. And
I think Marcus Smart had a very nice game last night.
Yeah. I think a huge factor of this was Luka could not shoot the ball very well, and then got into his Luka ways of complaining and and then he started miraculously coughing all of a sudden, and then left to the sidelines, had some sort of an apparent injury, came back, looked fine, coughing and all this. So I don't know what it was. There was nothing reported saying he was sick or hurt or anything like that.
Celtics beat them last time they played him too.
I believe so. Yeah. So this team for the Celtics, they start off great. I think they start off like 21-5. And now they've lost. They're now 27-12, about 1.5 games above Milwaukee for the number 1 spot, and they are second in the power rankings. Go to NBA.com. Denver's number 1 in the power rankings. They whooped up on them recently, and then you gave up 150 points to OKC without their main guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. 150 is the second most the Celtics have given up in their historic career.
And they've been out on the road quite a bit when they played that game.
I believe so.
Yeah.
150 is the most points OKC has scored in its franchise's history, and that came onto this team. But I gotta give credit where credit's due. What's his name? Joe Mazzulla. He's done a great job with this team. Coming in, he's the youngest head coach in the NBA right now. I believe he's 35 years old. He's done a great job with this team. Jason Tatum, he goes into these shooting slumps like he always does. So that's why superstar is, it depends on when you get Jason Tatum. But Jaylen Brown looks good. Malcolm Brogdon, who I hoped he would be great, he's resorted into more of a 7th man role. You're now starting Derek White. He's in the starting lineup now. He had a great start to the season.
I think they like Brogdon coming off the bench.
He's been pretty efficient.
He had 15 points last night.
I believe so. Yeah, I don't have the game in front of me, but
he had 15 points and a plus-minus differential plus 22.
Yeah,
so pretty good.
He's right? I don't think he's the distributor that the Celtics were hoping for.
He had 4 assists.
Yeah, he had 4 assists. But yeah, you right now have Derek White starting, Marcus Smart starting, Malcolm Brogdon, I believe, did start the season on the starting rotation, and then got demoted to like 7th player. So, while, it's good to have Robert Williams back. He's been a pretty key defensive player for them. He had another block in this game, 7 total rebounds.
Looks like he lost weight.
Yeah.
Looks skinny.
Yeah. Played 21 minutes, 7 rebounds, another block, only 3 points. Made his only shot, 50% from the free throw line. So, the Celtics team, I have some questions because... You know what? They still have a tough time beating the Warriors. So if they meet them again in the finals, who knows?
I'd be surprised the Warriors in the finals this year.
I would probably be too. Although Steph Curry is starting to come back slowly. He practiced 5-on-5 recently. He was reevaluated recently. So we don't know when he'll be back. Klay Thompson had a tremendous game. A couple was it last game or the game before that? He had a phenomenal game. I think they played the Pistons recently. They could not stop. I think Bojan Bogdanovic, I believe, they played. So with the Celtics team, I agree with you. The Mavs need somebody, and that was their problem last season. The Mavs needed somebody. They were able to beat the Pelicans. No, it was not the Pelicans. It was the Suns. They were able to beat the Suns. They can't. They don't have a number two.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson was the closest thing to a number two.
Yeah, they miss him.
Yeah. I think they miss him big time. He was a huge asset to. I consider that a pretty big asset for the Mavs. But right now, Luka's doing it all on himself, and it's impressive to watch. It's just unfortunate because you have the Mavericks. While Luka has been doing a lot, they're still the fourth team in the West, which is very surprising. They have a 22-17 record and the number 4. So. I don't know. The Celtics team's still number 1. Like I said, a game and a half above Milwaukee. I think the Celtics right now, I think they could beat almost every single team straight up.
So do I.
Denver caused them problems. The Warriors, even though they're the 9th seed, would cause them problems. Brooklyn's been lights out recently.
Yeah.
And they swept them in the playoffs. Celtics go up and beat them?
I don't think that would be a sweep, but I do think the Celtics would win.
I think you can go 6. I think the Celtics would probably win, though. So, I don't know. This was a great bounce back win, too. Not to get demoralized by 150 points, and you lose by, 33 points you lost by? You come back and beat the next team by almost 30? It's an impressive turnaround. Yeah. It's just a question of can the Celtics keep this going because... they start off poorly last season. Ime Udoka got the defense going, got the offense going. They were number 1 in defense, had a tremendous comeback post-All-Star game.
Still a lot of games to play.
There's like what? I still think 2/3 of the season is left over. So let's get into the next topic. We're talking about Week 18 picks. We'll go through this relatively quickly. So let's jump right into it. Let's see if we can get that up right now. And of course, that happens to me. Here we go. Let's go. I'll go my picks very, very briefly. Raiders, the Chiefs have a tough time covering against the big point spreads. Jaguars playoff run, I think they'll be able to do it. They have a tough time with the running game against Derrick Henry and that team. So I have a little bit of a worry with that. The Colts, I think the Texans may throw this game because they're still trying to get the number 1 spot. The Bears could actually overtake them if they do win this game. So they're probably going to be tanky for the number 1 spot, get Bryce Young. The Vikings, I think this is just trying to get back on track right now. They got demoralized and decimated by the Packers last week. I think this is a comeback game. Bengals, Lamar Jackson's out again. I think the Bengals will come back and start to get something going with that team. Dolphins, Joe Flacco is starting. Mike White will be out. Zach Wilson will be in the number 2. I just think no matter who starts in the Dolphins, the Jets cannot beat them. And then the Saints defense, I think, will slowly... I think they have a chance to stop Sam Darnold and that team, but that game actually gives me a little bit of a worry. Bills, like we talked about before, the Bills are too passionate right now. They're going to have a lot to play for. So I just think the Patriots can't even stop them if they try to. Bucks, I think this is ridiculous that they're 4-point underdogs on the road against Atlanta. The Bucks are the superior team, I think, even though they beat them by like 6 last time on a roughing the passer call against Grady Jarrett. So who knows what will happen in that game. The Steelers, Jadeveon Clowney, he'll be out. He got into an argument today at practice. He got dismissed from practice. He probably won't play. While Minkah Fitzpatrick and I think TJ Watt are both banged up. I think the Steelers will get something going. Kenny Pickett, I think he's a really, really good talent. I started to like him, even though I started to nickname him Kenny Pick'em Off. We'll see what happens there. I think the Rams are going to win this game. I like Baker Mayfield. He's been playing recently very good. Kind of. He's been playing better than I think he has been throughout the rest of the year. I think this is going to be a surprise win, which actually opens up the door for the Lions to win, but I don't think they'll get the win, but we'll get to that at the very end of this. Chargers, this is weird. Chargers, 3-point underdogs on the road against the Denver Broncos. Justin Herbert early in the year had some issues with the Denver Broncos, but I believe Mike Williams and Keenan Allen were both banged up in that game, so there's a little bit of an asterisk behind that game. So I think with them both being healthy, Austin Eckler gets something going, even though the Chargers have the 30th ranked rushing team, which is weird with Austin Eckler, but he just doesn't run the ball. He's more of a receiving back, and that's all they have. Great fantasy pickup, by the way. I think the Chargers can get this win here. Next one, the Giants probably going to start. They're probably going to start their backups, rest their starters. Eagles, 14-point favorites. I'll take the big one. Jalen Hurts is coming back. I'll be very, very impressed to see what happens here with that game. It'll be very. I think it'll be a very, very interesting game to see what the Giants do with their backups. And the Eagles are playing for the number 1 spot in the NFC East, and the number 1 spot in the entire NFC, not only in the NFC East. The next game, it was the same reason why I gave the 49ers the big point spread win last week against the Raiders. I think with David Blach, as I'm going to call him now, 4th-string quarterback for the Cardinals, I think the 49ers defense may shred through the Cardinals. The Cardinals are just not a very great team. Cliff Kingsbury, my guess is out the door next year. But who knows? But I'll take the 49ers to win -14. 2 huge point spreads I'm betting for. Cowboys, the Commanders are starting Sam Howell, their first-round pick. I just don't see the Cowboys really being able to, give this up really to the Commanders. Ron Rivera had a huge blunder in his interview saying that, I didn't know we could be eliminated from the playoffs if we lost this game. So I think the Cowboys -7 spread. I think the Cowboys defense will start to feast. Dak Prescott needs to stop with the turnovers. He needs to get something going. I think that'll happen. And the final game, Sunday Night Football, Packers play to get in, although the Lions could play to get in if the outcome of the Rams-Seahawks game I said is wrong. Seahawks do win the game. The Lions are completely out of it. So Packers play to win. I think that's the easiest route for them. They're clicking right now on defense, which is huge. It's huge for them. So I'll take the Packers to win, cover the -4.5 point spread. That wraps up my picks. Your turn. I can finally take a breath now.
Wow, Nate, you really went through that.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I'm quick.
Yeah.
Go through whatever you want, though, because
Okay.
we're pretty long right now.
Yeah. I like Kansas City over the Raiders, and I think that Stidham will have his hands full with.
Yeah, let me switch to yours. I've got to switch yours. Yeah, go.
I think that Stidham will have his hands full with that defense. I think this next game will be very close. I think the Titans are playing for their lives here. They got to win in order to make the playoffs. The Jaguars are an up-and-coming team. They've been very good lately. They've won a lot of games, and I think their coach makes a difference for them. And Trevor Lawrence has stepped up and played like he was touted when he was drafted. Was he drafted number 1, right? I think he was drafted number 1.
Who?
Trevor Lawrence when he was drafted.
Yeah.
So that's looking like a good pick. So I'm picking the Jaguars to win that one, but I think it will be very close. The Colts, I think, will beat Houston, but you know what? I'm not really right on this, so probably Houston's going to win. But,
You think Houston would give up the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah, probably not. But there's a possibility there because I'm always wrong on this one. But I'm picking the Colts.
Recently, you're on a streak, though. You are on a streak of Colts wins.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, you continue
2
that.
times, yeah. Vikings will bounce back from the Packers' loss. So Chicago's just very poor this year. The Bengals, I think they will beat the Ravens because Lamar's not playing, and the Bengals are coming off that very, very emotional game that wasn't completed against the Bills. So I do think they're going to win and cover. I like the Jets again over Miami. They're finally taking my advice and starting Joe Flacco, and I like his chances against the Dolphins, who will be, I don't know if Teddy Bridgewater might play if the swelling
It's looking like no. It's looking like Skylar Thompson will play.
Yeah. Well, he didn't do so bad, Skylar Thompson, when he got in there last week. So we'll see.
Well, yeah, last week when they first played,
Might be a good choice to let him play.
blown up against the Jets.
Yeah. So I'm picking the Jets. I think the Carolina, they're a pretty good team, actually. I think they will beat the Saints. Saints have nothing to play for now, right? They're out.
Yeah, they're out.
They're out.
The entire NFC South's out.
They're all out, yeah. I'm picking the Patriots. We had a long discussion about this. They're my team, so I have to pick them. I'm picking the Bucs because I like Tom Brady. I'm picking the Steelers, even though I'd like to see them lose, because if the Patriots can't beat the Bills, then if the Steelers win, they're going to be in the playoffs. So, but I think the Steelers will win this game. They're up-and-coming team. Their defense is great, and their offense is they got some good players there with Kenny Pickett and that Pickens guy.
Yeah, George Pickens.
He's very good. Yeah. So they're going to be, I think, a lot better next year. They'll be a playoff team next year. They might be a playoff team this year.
Potentially.
But I think they'll win more games next year. I'm picking the Seahawks over the Rams. I'd like to see that game on Sunday night mean something. It'd be fun to watch. So I'm hoping the Seahawks can beat LA. I think there's a fair chance of that. And I like I don't know why I like the Broncos to beat the Chargers, basically because the Chargers don't have anything to play for here. That doesn't change their seeding if they lose. And maybe Russell Wilson is trying to show that he still has something left to this new interim coach. I like the Eagles to win but not cover. I think that game will be closer than people think. And is Daniel Jones going to start that game? Do we know, or are they going to rest him?
The report there's nothing coming out right now saying who will exactly be benched. It's just the common thing is
I don't think he'll play the whole game. I mean, he's been hit hard this year, and he's run the ball a lot and taken some big hits. So I think they'd be wise to rest him. San Francisco's going to beat the Cardinals. It's just a prohibitive favorite, but I don't think they're going to cover. So I think that. This guy, the fourth-string quarterback, he played pretty well last week.
David Blau.
Blau, he played okay.
I call him David
He played
Blau.
okay. He was ranked. He was in the top 12 of the quarterbacks last week. Yeah. I think Dallas will beat Washington. Washington's starting that rookie quarterback. I feel bad for Tyler Heineke. I think he really put his heart and soul into it. He did really well for a while there. Had some tough times. I don't think it was all his fault. And they benched him for Carson Wentz, who went out there and stunk it up. And they might have won that game with Heineke in there and still had something to play for, right?
Yeah.
Then I like Green Bay over the Lions. I'm hoping this will the game will have meaning, that the Seahawks will win. And I like Green Bay, although I think that would be close if the Lions have something to play for in that game.
I just want to say something before we go into the Harvey Hot Hand. If the Seahawks win, the game means nothing for the Lions. It would only matter for the Packers. If the Rams win, either team in Sunday Night Football can make the playoffs, depending on who wins that game.
Oh, but how do the Lions get in then?
If the Seahawks lose.
If the Seahawks lose.
If the Seahawks lose, the Lions have a chance to, if they beat the Packers, to make the playoffs.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got that wrong then. I'm rooting for LA then. I want to change that one.
I'll change. So instead of wanting to be right, you want to change it to make it more
I'm going to
interesting.
change it more interesting.
Better
That's all
story.
I care about. I want to watch good football. That's all. I want exciting football. That's what I'm looking for.
I will change that for the next graphic.
Okay.
But it is time for the 18th and the final regular season Harvey Hot Hand I'll be doing for this regular season. I don't know if it makes no sense to do one for the playoffs because there's 5 teams and they'll be that's basically doing 5/7 of the playoffs anyway. So I'm not even gonna worry. We're just gonna do our picks for the playoffs.
You're going to come back with how you wound up the year after week 18.
Absolutely. Right now I'm 54.2%.
Okay.
I'm slightly below Colin Coward, who has his blazing 5, but I'm feeling really good about this week. So let's get right into it with the first Harvey Hot Hand pick. Buccaneers +4 at Atlanta. I think the Bucs will come out here, and I think they will play their starters. It could be for a drive, it could be for a half, it could be for a quarter. I don't care. I think what's going to happen is I think the Bucs will start off on that 2-minute drill, get something going, score points easily in the very beginning of the game, get it to a point where they're comfortable enough, and Tom Brady's comfortable enough if he does come out to come out of the game. He goes out, they're up by 10, 14 points. He comes out, the defense does the rest. The Bucs win 24-20 and cover the +4 spread.
Would it be better for Atlanta to lose anyway for
that pick,
draft pick?
Yeah, for that pick. The next one, Rams +6 against Seattle. For a large part because I do love the story of the Seahawks losing and then the Lions and the Packers. It'd be a great conversation on Tuesday for when we do our show. But I honestly think the Rams could win this game, regardless if it's a storyline or not. I do, because I think the Rams recently, their defense has been pretty good. I mean, they stopped, it's not saying much they stopped the Broncos, but you put up 51 points against what Pro Football Focus at the time rated the number 1 passing defense in the Denver Broncos with Patrick Surtain and the rest of that defense. I mean, it's impressive nonetheless. I do think the Seahawks have some potholes here. Kenneth Walker's banged up, and we saw that when Kenneth Walker was banged up, it's all to Geno Smith, and he hasn't been able to deliver. So I think if Kenneth Walker can't go, or he's banged up that he's not 100% ready to go, the Rams can slow him down to a point that Baker Mayfield can maybe get something going. Because right now the Seahawks defense isn't that great in the passing game. So I'm going to take the Rams to win and cover. Upset alert, +6. Rams win 27-24. Next one. Lions, Packers. I'll pick the Packers -4.5. I think the way the Packers defense has been going right now, I mean, there's a couple reasons why. The first one is I get sort of my pregame pick or preseason pick right when I said you could argue the Lions winning 4 games or 8 games, and I said it's more like 8 games than 4 games. It would turn out to be right if they lose this game, they go 8-9. However, the Lions on the road do not play very well, which is not, it's a little surprising, honestly. At home, they're tremendous. The Lions defense is ranked 32nd in the league. This Packers team right now it's starting to get going. And with the way the 1-2 punch has been going, they found something that is successful, and that's running the ball more than you throw the football. Aaron Rodgers now has become a distributor, and that's where they found their last 4 games they've won. That's where they found their success. So I think they run the ball, they slow down the clock. I still think this may be a shootout. I think you consider that partially a shootout. So I would take the Packers to win, cover the -4.5 point spread, win 31-24. Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. I will take the L on my standings where I said Aaron Rodgers misses. I will take the L on that, but I will say the Packers win and make it into the playoffs for the sake of my final regular season Harvey Hot Hand. The next one, Steelers, -2.5 points. They barely eke out this point spread win against the Browns. Jadeveon Clowney's down. I think the Browns they don't really have much to play for. The Steelers are trying to actually get into the playoffs. So I think the Steelers are going to be playing for something here, and I think...
You think the Browns are happy they made the deal for Deshaun Watson?
I don't think the NFL is happy that they made the deal for Deshaun Watson.
No, but he hasn't played very well.
Recently, the last game he played pretty well. 3 touchdowns, no picks, high passer rating, but when it comes to this pick, I think the Steelers have a lot to play for. I mean, we're taking a look at here. The Steelers, they're a little bit banged up. Najee Harris has been playing well. Kenny Pickett had that tremendous comeback against the Ravens. So I will take the Steelers to win here. Barely cover. We cover the exact point spread, -2.5. They need to win by 3 or more. I'll take the Steelers to cover here and win 23-20, cover the -2.5 point spread. And the final one, the final Harvey Hot Hand pick for the 2022-2023 season, it is the Bills and Patriots. We're back with the Bills. We're back with another Patriots Harvey Hot Hand, and I think most of the time in this year, I've actually the Patriots been on the losing end of my Harvey Hot Hand, but I've been saying this. The Bills are playing with a passion. Damar Hamlin, he recovered miraculously, and that's a big thank you to all the medical team for the Bills on the field. CPR was given, brought his heart back into rhythm. There was a report coming out that he lost his pulse again when he was surrounded by doctors. He comes back. He gets put on a breathing tube. His vitals are slowly going back to normal. He gets taken off the breathing tube. He writes to the doctors, "Did we win who won the game?" Which is tremendous. He gets off the breathing tube, FaceTimes his team. The team is motivated. The Bills are going to be extremely motivated to win for Damar Hamlin. I don't think the Patriots, even if Damar Hamlin never went down, I still think the Bills are not being... the Patriots can't stop the Bills. It's simple as that. It took them 10 quarters to make the Bills punt once, which that is completely absurd. You have an NFL record, 7 straight drives of a score in a playoff game. They lost 45-17. It was bad. I think the Bills here, they're going to play probably keep away, even though they don't need to. The Bills win here. I'd be surprised if the Patriots honestly put up 20, but the Bills do win here, 30-20. They beat the Patriots and cover the -7.5 point spread. That wraps it up for another Harvey Hot Hand and the last one of the season. I'm hoping I get. I'm hoping I go 5 for 5 here, but we will see. So that's it for another episode of the Harvey Hour.
It's been a great regular season, Nate. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's the final one, Tuesday.
Yeah.
We will slowly start to move into Mondays and Fridays. I think in 2 weeks we have a little bit of, let's see, not this Tuesday, next Tuesday will be the last Tuesday episode of the Harvey Hour we do have, although I believe that's right after the wild card. After that, we'll be going into whatever, not this upcoming Monday, then or the next 2 Mondays. I don't have my calendar in front of me. That will be the first Monday Harvey Hour, and then we'll go up to end of the playoffs here. But because there's a reason for that, our 1 year anniversary of the Harvey Hour of us doing the show together is on January 16th in 10 days. So that will be the last Tuesday. Don't want to miss that. Absolutely. We'll be taking a look back at the Harvey Hour for the past year of the show. But for this episode of the Harvey Hour, my name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We are the Harvey Hour. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the support you've had over the watching the clips and subscribing, coming in here and liking. We appreciate it greatly. Prayers up to DeMar Hamlin for a safe recovery and a quick recovery. It seems to be a tremendous recovery. It's been truly a miracle.
It's really great that he's gonna looks like he's gonna be okay. It's great.
Absolutely. Follow the Harvey Hour on TikTok at the Harvey Hour. See clips. The Harvey Hot Hand will be going up actually tonight on TikTok. Also subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/@the Harvey Hour for clips. We're coming out clips tomorrow. Huge amount of clips coming out tomorrow. A lot of great content tonight. Thank you, Dad, for being here. But for this episode of the Harvey Hour, that'll be it Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube for another episode of the Harvey Hour.
Go Patriots.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
Or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe
Interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.